Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. It is Thursday, which means we got some new movies coming out tonight, and over the weekend, the Seaman was able to go get a sneak peek at one of those movies that drops tonight. And while I know there is some very serious things going on with the coronavirus, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who are staying away from highly populated areas, as you should. This is one of those things don't really want to mess with if you don't have to. But if you have the ability to go out to the movie theater tonight or this weekend, I'm telling you, this is a movie worth going to see. What are we talking about? Why don't you pull up a chair, man? Take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in, spoiler free, into Pixar's Onward, man. Oh, dude, what a friggin' fantastic movie. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. You know me. I like to roll some tears. And you know Pixar. Pixar likes to make us roll some tears. And I'm going to tell you right now, you should bring the tissues. Especially, if you have siblings, I think this movie is definitely going to hit home. But specifically, if you have brothers, or are a brother to another brother, a two-brother minimum conversation here, because the movie is about two brothers, and brotherhood is one of the main focal points. And it's certainly, being an older brother, registered so hard with me, especially because, probably no surprise to anybody, but the linchpin to all of that emotion comes from Tom Holland's Ian Lightfoot, who is the younger brother to Chris Pratt's Barley Lightfoot. And being at the movie theater and having a younger brother who wasn't with me, as those things start to kind of unfold toward the end of the movie, hit me so hard. I was just like, I wish my brother was here, man. Like, it really just, it hit me right here, man. And it's because the movie, like I said, is about brotherhood. And if you're unfamiliar, this is a movie that takes place, in a world full of fantasy. It's all the fantasy characters you could think of, right? Elves, unicorns, mermaids, and we've kind of moved up to like the present day. So magic is kind of dwindling away as the internet and iPads and airplanes and technology are introduced to all of these characters. And essentially what ends up happening is you find out that Ian and Barley's dad died before Ian was born. Mild spoiler. But on his 16th birthday, there's a gift that his dad left to him and his brother, which happens to be the staff, and which we've seen in the previews, where it starts to bring their dad back for one day, but the spell doesn't quite work because Ian doesn't quite have control of his magical powers at that point, and there's other things that are needed to make it happen. And all they get is the torso and up is gone. It's just the hips down, man. Just their father's legs. And they kind of have to go on this adventure. And Barley is a massive fantasy nerd, man. Like he has those like card games, kind of like Magic the Gathering. Except in this world, all the things that are in the cards are loosely based off of real things in their world. So they go on this kind of fantasy adventure to find a crystal that they need in order to perform the spell before the day runs out, so they can get one moment with their father. And specifically for Ian, because he's never met him. That's the setup of the movie, which right off the bat, you're like, oh my gosh. And then to just watch how it all unfolds, man, it's just wonderful. Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are a pair of brothers that were meant to be, man. It certainly, I think, helps having the chemistry that those two had while they were shooting the Avengers movies. I'm sure, that whole cast, even if they weren't all together all the time, they all certainly seem to get along quite well. They all seem to be very tight-knit, and that pays off here because Holland and Pratt feel like brothers, and they feel like, the brothers that have kind of separated because one of those brothers is a little too far out there. That being, of course, Chris Pratt's Barley, and their interactions are great the whole movie, man. I love the adventure that they go on. This quest that they have to go on. They kind of each have moments where they're leading, and where the story goes for when Ian is kind of in control versus where Barley is in control. I really enjoyed it. It plays into all the things you want in a fantasy movie, man. It hits all the beats of a classic fantasy tale, and while some could say that's kind of cliche, or oh, we've seen that before, being that it's coming from a world where Barley knows this stuff and Ian doesn't, it works really well. And the overall, arc for their story is just wonderful, as you see them kind of go to try to find this crystal to bring their dad back for just one day. And obviously I don't want to spoil anything, but the end of the movie, oh man, like it was one of those things, like I'm watching it and the humor is really solid. Like I said, the adventure is really fun. The voice work from Holland and Pratt is genuine, and obviously the emotion that they're able to put out vocally is what kind of pulls you in, sucks you into this movie, goes on this fun thing. And as the movie was going, I there were emotional moments, but I wasn't really too teary eyed. I was like, maybe I'm gonna survive this movie. And then the moment happens, man. It's like one thing happens, and you're like, oh no, we're going, oh no. And within 3 more moments, sobbing like a baby. But it was not like a bad sobbing. It was a beautiful sobbing. It was something that I felt genuinely connected to, being the older brother to a younger brother. And just watching that journey between the two of them is great. And having their dad on the adventure with them is also really awesome. Even though he's just a pair of legs, he has these kind of teaching, learning moments with the boys, and these like impactful, emotional, resonant moments just through the taps of feet, or tapping, or just the way they're able to communicate with him throughout the movie. You're just like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. It's so clever. And so much of that, has to go to Dan Scanlon, who is writing and directing here, along with his writing team of Jason Headley and Keith Bunnan. And, Scanlon is a longtime Pixar guy. He's been on, plenty of miscellaneous crews. He's gotten to write and direct, most recently Monsters University before this one. And here he's really operating quite well, man. Like I said, the story works. The idea of a fantasy world that has modern technology, and that's the reason magic is disappearing, is something that works well. The things they play with within the fantasy world are fun. And the ultimate story for the boys and their dad is just a beautiful one that it rings so true to so many things. And, just kind of one of those, like, sometimes you don't realize what you have because you're thinking about something you don't. And when you can realize what you have, oh God, just the beauty of that. And then to have even a really nice B story for the kid's mom, who's played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who I adore. She's so funny. They don't ask her to do a ton here, but she certainly has some moments that make you smile, make you laugh. And they team her up with the Manticore, which is like this legendary beast where Barley goes to try to get a map in order to go find the crystal. And, she was once a magic beast and a ferocious beast, but she's been tamed. She runs like a Chuck E. Cheese type place where she's got a mascot that looks like her, and she's kind of like the owner of the store, and the way they kind of pull her in and work her back into that world that she had come from is really fun. And teaming her up with Julia Louis-Dreyfus's, Laurel, works quite well. And then when you add in the fact that the voice is Octavia Spencer, I mean, slam dunk, man. I've thoroughly enjoyed the B story of them trying to chase down the boys because the Manticore may have forgotten to tell them something, and that all leads to just a wonderful climactic finale that, like I said, just hits you right in the chest. Especially, like I said, if you have a brother or siblings, it's a movie that's gonna resonate with you. And at the end of the day, it's what Pixar is best at, man. They're best when it comes to coming up with some kind of adventure, and all the twists and turns that you throw into it just work here. And then they love to gut us emotionally, and here, the emotional gut punch is actually one that is beautiful. It's not one that's like, oh man, like that hurt me to watch. It's, I feel this, man, because that's how I feel about my own brother. And you can see the similarities in their relationship with your own, and things like that just works really, really well. So at the end of the day, Onward was just a massive bucket of win for the old Seaman, dude. Like I said, Holland and Pratt are just, they're so good. Pratt's zany, all over the place Barley is perfect for the things that Chris Pratt can do. And Tom Holland's, Ian is hesitant, and watching him grow as he's the one that kind of has the magic and learn to trust some of the things that Barley is trying to show him, it kind of opens the doorway for himself. And even within that own story of those two characters kind of mix together bring out different aspects of myself. I could see myself in both characters. So even that, resonated so well with me, where it was just like, I love these characters from start to finish, and it always helps when you really, really like the actors that are doing it. I thought everybody that was involved in this one did a massively fantastic job. So, like I said, for the Seaman, Onward is a massive bucket of win, and if you have the ability to get out to the theater, try to go see it this weekend, because it's totally worth it. Such a great movie. And that, there you go. Those are all the Seaman's non-spoiler thoughts on Onward. Everything you could ask for in a fantasy adventure movie. A great adventure, lots of humor. The visuals, man. The animation is wonderful. I mean, it's what we've come to expect with Pixar. And the animation here, what's cool is it totally syncs with the world that they're in, but all that background stuff, man, like when they're driving around the Barley's van, named Guinevere, which is genius, man. If you know about King Arthur, and all that kind of lore, like to have the van named Guinevere is wonderful, and I love that it has this iconic flying, I think it's a flying unicorn on it, and it looks like one of those types of like painted up vans. But the van, is a character in and of itself in the movie, and I love the way they utilize the van. But the look of the van is amazing when it's driving, when it's on the road, there's a freeway, all that stuff just looks so real, yet works perfectly inside of a movie that feels like it's animated. And having a movie that feels like it's animated, not like, oh, I could touch that real, which we've seen with some of the things that they're able to do, allows you to kind of enjoy that fantasy adventure, and meshes quite well with the material. So everything you could want in a Pixar movie is all there, including the emotional gut punch that here, it's a good one. You get a good cry and a positive cry, but I do recommend bringing some tissues, because you might roll one or two, especially if you have a brother or a sibling, something like that. So those are all the Seaman's non-spoiler thoughts. Now I want to know what you're thinking, man. Are you excited to go see Onward? Are you a Pixar person? Are you a Tom Holland, Chris Pratt fan, or even Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Octavia Spencer? What were you looking forward to? What do you, is the thing that you were excited the most about the movie? And if you get out to see it tonight or over the weekend, what worked and didn't work? Did you like the movie? Did it work for you? Anything you're thinking, positive or negative, about Onward, goes down below in the comment section. I look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with the Seaman anytime we're talking movies, trailers, TV, you know what to do, man. I recommend you come join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad. Let the old Seaman slip into your timeline. And you can do that by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button. And if you really want to know things about the Seaman immediately, hit the little bell that follows so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the Seaman Cinema Sit-Down, I'm the Seaman. I'm signing off, baby. Peace. Well, I'll be. You guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. Seaman's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the Seaman goodies, join the Cinema Sit-Down Squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.